Hello and welcome to the Daily Atheist Morning Show. It is Monday, the 26th of October, 2020. I am your host, the amazing Super Chris. I've got my co-host, Sandy Hall from the Laughing in Disbelief blog over at Pathos, and Nokasuchi from the Rage channel over here on YouTube. They're going to be joining me in just a minute. We're going to talk about the cooties and Typhoid Trump and all that good stuff right after this.
Life is complicated. These are trying times. There are many questions that need answering. Want to know what's going to help? Atheism. With atheism, you'll get rid of dogma, superstitions, and toxic thought patterns that are holding you back. You can drive while taking atheism, as well as use heavy machinery. In fact, drinking alcohol, fornicating, and Sunday mornings are far more enjoyable with atheism. However, there are side effects. Some evangelicals and fundamentalists will think you are possessed by the devil. But you don't have to worry, because you know the devil isn't real. Just like God. Wake up to your life. Believe in yourself. Believe in science. Atheism.
Yeah. Love those who love me.
I would question their judgment myself, but that's just me.
Ha ha ha. There we are. We're live. The commercial ended and we're all looking around. I'm going, where's the thing? When's the commercial going to be? Oh, look, there we are. We were talking about Trina DeLuca's comment that I looked all fancy and wired. Good morning, everybody. Thank you all for joining us. I hope you had a wonderful weekend. Seems like it would appear, I do believe, Hermione hath suffered death, and that Apollo would, this being indeed the issue of King Polixenes. It should here be later. Streamlabs is having a stroke, or I am. I don't know, but it can't get its chat going. Maybe the counter will work. I don't know. We'll see in a minute. We'll find out in a minute if the counter up here will right. But otherwise, I hope you all had a wonderful weekend. Good morning, Andy. Good morning, Nokasuchi. Andy, how you doing this morning?
I want to have whatever Rage is having. He has this big ass smile on his face, and I am already jealous.
Yeah, well, I have health. I'm healthy. I feel almost normal. So yeah, I'm feeling good. So.
I feel good.
I think comedians master the ability to smile while not being happy. But Rage here looks like he is like legit happy, like legit, and I am envious.
Yeah. Well, I don't feel like I'm gonna die anymore. So.
Yeah, so we haven't seen you in a few days, so it's it's good to see you. Really, just to see you.
Yeah.
So and then
it's good to use this camera thing I got up there again. Yeah.
There you go. You paid money for it. Get your money's worth.
Yeah.
Before we get too far along, I want to say hello to everybody over in the Damnation. Good morning, KCA Randy, Critical Cripple. Good morning to Dave. Good morning, Dave. Good morning, Dave. Trina DeLuca, Hugs, Techno Apoc, The Girlfriend, not the same person, I think. They're different peoples. Derek Cruz, Ian Davenport, Sean Alexander. It's been a while since we've had you in the chat. I think we saw you the other day, though, but I hope good to see you there. Paul Camish, hola, senor. Good to have you with us this morning. Thank you to everybody who watches on Facebook, and thank you to the people who listen on Daily Atheist Morning Show podcast. I hope you all had a wonderful weekend, and yeah, so carry on with your banter and your revel. Let's finish up where we were, if you don't mind. Nokasuchi, tell us about your experience with the cooties, brother.
It was pretty bad. So like the first moment I felt it, I was at work and I knew it was different. I went right up to my boss and I was like, hey, I'm pretty sure that I'm feeling COVID right now. I was correct. And then it was kind of up and down. There was moments I felt really good. Usually, especially here in the mornings, I felt fairly decent. And then at night, I would feel really bad. But then I started to get better. And I was like, yes, it's over. I'm done. And then out of nowhere, as soon as I started to assert that, I had round 2, which was far worse than round 1 was. Ended up in the hospital, ended up on the respirator. Had a blood clot, all that bad stuff that comes with COVID. So got that taken care of.
I didn't know about the blood clot. Talk about that.
Yeah. Well, it's something that you have to worry about with COVID regardless. And so they tell you to keep moving around, to keep the blood flowing. And with me having vein disease, it was something that we were worried about right off the get. So I was taking a baby aspirin just to keep the blood a little thinner, but I still got a clot, and that's why I was having extreme pain at late at night. And I was taking my pain pills for it because I have vein disease and I have pain that I deal with, and it was a blood clot. So when I finally went to the doctor, because capitalism sucks and you train yourself not to go. I went and we finally took care of it. So feeling so much better, and that's why I'm smiling.
Well, that's great. I am happy to hear that you are better. I'm happy that you had a blood clot that didn't kill you, basically.
Yeah. And it seems like today I don't feel it at all. So what they did worked. And I'm taking medication. I put it on Twitter. It seems like we're missing some common sense here, because I didn't get any medication for COVID.
The hell you say?
Yeah. Until
Where
I
you come
went
up
to,
with this crazy shit? We don't have lives like this on the show.
But I had COVID for 12 days before I went to the hospital, and I didn't get any medication for it until I went to the hospital. So you would think, all right, maybe if we start medicating people for the COVID before it gets bad, maybe it won't get so bad. I don't know. It just seems like common sense to me.
Yeah. Well, especially if my understanding I don't know, maybe it's different where you are. If you got the cooties, then just go. If you even suspect, just go. I mean, it's just go.
They told me not to. They told me don't go unless I had breathing issues or some complications. They told me to stay inside. So I think what I think is happening, and
we'll look for your body later.
Today, yeah. Well, I think it's spiking, and I think that the hospitals are getting overrun. So they're starting to tell people to stay at home.
They are. So. Absolutely. That was part of the reason why I went with the theme I went with today. Last week we watched the debate with Trump and Biden, and in that debate, Trump was just so confident about the fact that, well, in his mind, oops, wrong one. How come it's doing it wrong? About the notion, if you will, that, let me go back to here. The cooties, he's saved 2 million lives.
Yeah.
you know, Joseph Stalin, he saved 20 million lives by not killing him, by not killing them. That's what Joseph Stalin did.
We're saving lives. We're saving lives by talking about religion and getting people away from religion, because that'll kill you. We're saving lives.
Yeah. I don't buy that, really. Call me crazy. I'm just saying. I'm trying to fix it so I can show this image on the screen. One of the things, though, is that now we have discovered that Mike Pence's entourage has the cooties. Somehow Mike Pence doesn't have the cooties yet.
Well, maybe he did, and we don't know.
That,
it shows COVID has taste. He has taste.
Right.
Yeah. So what was it? Several of his entourage, 4 or 5 of them now have come down with COVID. And that's one of the things that I guess it makes sense. In a normal sane world, it would make sense to where the leaders of the society, whenever you do get the cure or the best medication for it, you give it to them so they can survive and help the rest of society, lead the rest of society through the pandemic so they can. But that's exactly the opposite of what Trump did. Trump got the cooties, then he did indeed get the best of the best. But as the leader, he didn't go on to make sure everybody else gets the best of the best. He went on to continue to deny that it was actually as dangerous as it really is.
Yeah. I was watching Fareed Zakaria, CNN 10 a.m., and he mentioned there was a piece about how well China's economy is doing right now, and a lot of Americans don't realize that China is actually, I'm looking at an article right now from Time Magazine, the economic growth of China accelerated to 4.9% currently over a year earlier because of their ability to deal with the crisis intelligently. There were like 12 people in a province. There was this bit about it. Yeah, the Chinese just basically did a far better way of managing the public health crisis. They were the first ones there, of course. But even if it happened first in America, with our crappy public health system and mismanagement and poor leadership, I don't think we'd be in any better place now.
Yeah. Well, I think that we were set up for something like this for a long time. It's just unfortunate that it happened under the watch of the most inept president we've ever had. Had we had a better president, we could have waded through a little more successfully. But yeah, our healthcare system is atrocious, and people have been screaming, "Hey, if a pandemic hits, we're in trouble." We see it now, and they're still not willing to do anything about healthcare. They're still trying to take away healthcare from millions upon millions of people.
Here's what the Chinese did recently. I'm going to read from the article that I found on Time Magazine about the Chinese economy and the Chinese government's reaction to COVID-19. Last week, more than 10 million people were tested for the virus in the eastern port of Qingdao. After 12 cases, only after 12 cases were found in this port city, 10 million people were tested. And that broke a streak of almost 2 months with no virus transmissions reported within China. This is from the Time Magazine article. China reports faster economic recovery after bringing COVID-19 under control.
See, I tell you, had they not done that testing, they wouldn't have had those 12 and everything would have been okay. That's the problem, is the excess testing.
Right.
Yeah, it was all that testing. Right. Yeah, it's funny, like, because we like to think of ourselves as the greatest nation, but then we have these situations where we're tested, and now we see all of these countries doing better. I have some friends in Australia. They have, I think, 4 new cases, and they have active cases, but 4 new cases. That's remarkable. You look at other places of the world. Shannon Q the other day was talking about Victoria, Canada. 0 new cases, right? Like, so it can be done correctly, but not here,
And even in one of the quote unquote good states like Massachusetts, I'm looking at the daily change of new cases. 1,077 on October 25th. One of the better states, and we had 1,077 new cases. Wow. China would have tested everyone in the state. The state of Massachusetts only has 6 million people. In theory, China would have tested 1.5 Massachusettses, if that's a word at this point. Oh, my fictitious God.
Yeah, what are we? Does anybody know what we're up to now as far as deaths? Let me pull up the Google, the Goggle.
I think we got to be over 230 now.
Oh, I'm sure. Yeah,
I'm just guessing. Spitballing has around 250, but I don't know.
There's a tracker. So it says 225 plus.
How much is it, Chris?
225,000 plus.
All right,
currently.
Yeah.
I do know
fatality cases.
Fatality rates here in the States are going down because they have figured out how to treat it. The president went on and talked about Regeneron, but it's actually the antibiotic that's doing the most good. He's not talking about that. He got the antibiotic. He's talking about the drug he has part ownership in. But like we know how to treat it now, so it's not as dangerous. But trust me, you don't want it. you don't want it.
It's right. Not as fun as it sounds.
And to be honest, you dodged a bullet, Rage. I mean, you had a blood clot. That could have been it.
Actually,
that could have been it.
Can I list the bullets, if I may? Not that, if I may. You've had a heart attack.
Mm-hmm.
You've got a blood clot. You're over 40. Are you 50? How old are you?
I'm 43. Yeah.
Okay, over 40. And you're a smoker.
Yep.
Yeah.
I have my vein disease.
You're like Neo.
Oh, the vein disease. Yeah.
So I was worried. I'm not gonna lie. I was a few days ago. I was not only worried but half delusional most of the time. So it was it's definitely something. Even if you get a mild version, you don't really want to get this. It's not the flu. They keep saying the flu. It's not the flu. It's something different, and you're not going to enjoy it. But and it doesn't. And even though we do know how to treat it now, there are people younger and healthier than me dying from it. Oh, yeah. So I was terrified.
And once again, death isn't the only metric we have to worry about. We have to worry about organ damage. That COVID-19 that'll cause you problems for the rest of your life. For some people, that is something to be concerned about too. And it is an extra drain on the healthcare system going forward.
Yeah, and I think that is something that a lot of people don't realize. So now I can get sick. I go back to work on Thursday, but I can still get sick moving forward for the rest of my life. I could be feeling this. It could come back on me at any time. And yet there are people that deal with, lifelong organ damage due to this. This is no joke, and people, it's scary that we still have people. I was just listening to Mr. Batman right before I came on, and he's talking about, masks not doing anything. There's still a lot of people that just are denying the science and denying just how dangerous this thing is.
That's insane.
Critical Cripple Dave tried to vote no, but it's not actually no, it's niet. It's either yes, he'd run right to Putin's lap, vote yes, or no, he'd never run. Niet.
Let's pretend I don't pay any attention to anything, Chris. What's the poll for today, sir?
The poll for today is, will Trump try to leave the U.S. if, the slim chance, if that he loses the election, he'll try to leave. So, what do you think? Will he try to, if he loses the election, will he try to bounce back to the U.S., back to the U.S., back to the USSR? I love me. That's cool. Or do you think he'll stay here and face the ramifications, the repercussions?
He's Audi 5000.
His actions.
He's Audi 5000.
Yes, so that's
he's got so many resorts, so many places. He could go anywhere, and if he was smart, he would. Because if he loses his election, he's not beyond the statute of limitations. The city of New York's already coming after him. So if he doesn't, he's stupid, which we already kind of knew that.
So here's the situation, and tell me what our sane, rational Secret Service agency agents would do. Let's say Donald Trump, he leaves the country. Now we all know that presidents get lifelong security, right? Their persons are protected because they know things. Even Donald Trump knows things. Even he does.
He'll be able to get classified security briefings as well until he dies. Yeah.
So let's say Donald Trump decides to, hey, I'm just going to live in Russia for 10, 15, whatever, however long. So if you're if you're in charge of national security, what do you do with that? What do you do with that?
If I may, Critical Cripple Dave in the chat says, liar Andy.
Liar Andy? About what? I lie about so much, I lose track of what I say.
But what he means is, Dave's cool. What he means is that you're wrong. Trump doesn't know. And I've actually heard ex-generals say, you know what, they don't tell him things. And then you got to think, even if they did tell him, how much would anybody trust anything that comes out of Trump's mouth? And how reliable would it be? Maybe let's just say we had a super secret spaceship program creating the Starship Enterprise right now. We're building it right now. Even if he were to tell Russia, there's no guarantee that what he would convey would be correct, even remotely correct. There's no way they could trust it.
If we were smart, when he does go to Russia, then we would just start feeding them false information.
Oh, that would be great.
Yeah.
The thing is, from his conversation with Bob Woodward about him knowing how bad the virus was when it first came in, so it's clear that Trump. It's two things. One, Trump is a fool, and Trump plays the fool. So it's difficult to really figure out how dumb he is as against to how dumb he's acting at any one time. So is he foolish? Definitely. Is he as foolish as he lets himself on to be? Probably not.
Right. Yeah. Well, I think there's a difference between. There's definitely a difference between gullible and stupid. I think he's gullible. I think he believes stupid crap. But a stupid person doesn't lose their fortune 5 times and then still somehow manages to skate the law and all the things that this dude has done.
See, I think that's genius. You have to. This is why I irritate so many liberals. You have to think that the singular genius of Donald J. Trump is being Donald J. Trump. And you're right. He blows through fortunes. He evades bankruptcy and somehow he lands the presidency of the United States of America. If that isn't a kind of bizarre genius, I don't know what is.
But not by him. Again, this is, I've been saying, this has been planned for years and years and years, but not by him. And I think, somebody actually said there was probably a discussion at a table. The discussion was probably in a language that rhymes with Prussian. and it said something to do with how much money will it cost us to buy the U.S. presidency? $1 billion? Would $1 billion be enough? Okay, let's throw $1 billion at buying the U.S. $1 billion in 15 years, and let's buy that U.S. presidency, and that's where we are.
Yep.
You know.
Oh yeah, I mean, I think if you look at the 2016 Republican primary, you see a choice, at least that that party made. They had a range from moderates to the most atrocious in Ted Cruz, and then you had worse than that in Donald Trump. They went with Trump, you know.
Well, you know, before the last election, though, we had like a semi-normal Republican Party with some outliers, Ted Cruz and a couple others that were like the fringe, and they were crazy. And then all of a sudden, after a couple of trips to Russia by a good many of the people of the members of the party, all of a sudden, all these conservatives in the GOP just went bam all the way to the right. And that was even before the election. That's why the election happened. That's why Donald Trump was even nominated, because they were already under the whip by then. You know,
well, I think it's a lot of them are beholden to the evangelical lobby. And evangelicals actually love Putin right now. Putin is doing the good work. He's discriminating against the gay people. He's making the Orthodox Church the number one authority in Russia. I mean, they love Putin right now.
Can I add a point to that? I want to add a point to that, and that if Putin is bringing about the end of the world with the United States, and he's going to cause the return of Jesus, etc., as whatever they believe in Revelations, then again, they are pro-Putin. They're whatever he's doing, they're welcoming it because it's the end of the world.
Just like Netanyahu. I mean, he's a Jew most Christians would hate, but because he is doing things that they see as leading towards revelation, allowing Trump to move the embassy to Jerusalem, creating Israel as this powerful nation state again. They love them some Netanyahu, even though they don't really like Jewish people.
Yeah. Well, they're proto-Christians. That's how a lot of evangelicals look at Jews. They're proto-Christians. They just need a little nudge. They just need a little nudge, and they'll be all about Jesus. They need they do
in their life.
Yeah. Well, see, that's what Kelly Sellers says. The Tea Party. Phil Lister mentions the Manchurian Candidate, and that's what I was talking. That's kind of what we're talking about. The Tea Party was used as a vessel by Russia to get their Manchurian Candidate into place. They used the divide in our country of racism as a tool, and Trump's willingness to goad it. I mean, go look at what's happened. It's been, textbook. And look where we are.
You look at the people benefiting. Who benefits most from the state of America right now? And it's two countries. It's China and Russia, without a doubt. Though China's economy, they have a chance to become that superpower now, that real superpower to match American might. And Russia has chaos in the West, and that has been their goal since Putin took over. It's been their goal.
It's always been their goal. Yeah,
their goal before. Even when they were USSR.
It's always been their goal. We need to get past that. China can be a financial superpower. That's okay. Mm-hmm. Russia can actually be a financial superpower. They may not have necessarily like resources like other countries, but they've got intellect, and they've got a lot of things that they could be doing, but they're not. They don't have to be the villains on the world stage. It's not required. No.
They're just really good at it.
They're just, They're
just really good at it.
But the world would be better off if we could those three include, and then throw in Europe. If we could all get along and everybody, we wouldn't even need militaries. Just saying, if we could get past a lot of this stuff.
I had this discussion with my kid the other day. My kid asked me, "What would you do if you could live forever?" And I just told her the first thing I would do is figure out a way to get off this freaking rock, to get off this planet, because it's either we're going to
from orbit. That's the only way to be safe.
Wow, that went really dark. But to tell you the truth, the idea that the countries of the world are going to hold hands together in a peaceful way without some kind of external threat, a la Watchmen, either the comic book or the movie. It's hard for me to wrap my mind around that.
I can't. I don't think it's even possible yet. I think we're moving there. Like, we're slowly getting to a smaller world where we're one people, but that's hundreds of years away. We've got a few hundred years of killing each other before we actually really get there.
Yeah. I just want to say this about, I don't know if you guys saw this or heard about it, about the White House basically surrendering to the COVID pandemic over the weekend.
Yeah.
I'm just going to read this.
I saw something, but I didn't get to read it, Andy.
Allow me to give you the quote here.
Please.
Quote, "We are not going to control the pandemic. We are going to control the fact that we get vaccines, therapeutics, and other mitigation areas," White House Chief of Staff Mark Meadows told CNN's Jake Tapper on State of the Union on Sunday. So F public health, F everything else. We're just going to get medicine, vaccines, whenever that comes along, therapeutics to help mitigate the effects of the virus. But in terms of trying to control the spread, that's not what we do here. That's not what we're about.
Gotcha.
Yeah, and they're actually talking smack about Biden for talking about, like, yeah, I'm going to have some kind of national plan.
I know, right? They're bashing Biden. If you vote for Biden, he'll actually listen to the scientists.
Yeah.
Right.
Oh,
and they're really scared. Like, I saw a video, first time in my life, and I should have. I'm sure Trump has put out a bunch, but it was like literally Matt Powell edited this video because it cut Joe Biden off right after he says, "I'm going to raise your taxes," and it doesn't go on to say if you make over $400,000. Right. It's like I'm going to raise your taxes. Cut. Joe Biden's going to raise everybody's taxes.
Right. Absolutely disingenuous liars. The comment hypocrisy for one. One of the things that I've maintained is that of course, we've seen it every time the conservatives get office all across the board. They always crash the economy. Sure. Every time. Trump's was no different. Andy likes to maintain, and Andy's not entirely wrong. I feel a little differently, but Andy has said that if it weren't for the COVID, Trump would be winning the election. Okay, I get that. I mean, I appreciate the view, that angle. I also want to say, though, that over the past 4 years, they'd been giving away all the money of all these taxes and taking in no money, and they're doing that, and they're just blowing money out just completely. And our economy was due to a collapse anyway had COVID not hit us. It was already going to collapse. They just used the COVID as an opportunity to drop $1 trillion into the economy, thus saving the economy and obfuscating the fact that Trump had trashed our economy by giving away all the taxes and not taking in any money.
It's quite a pernicious cycle with the idea that Republicans are considered to be the fiscal conservatives, and they just blow money out their butts.
Every time.
Every single time.
And start the wars usually,
Start the wars.
The right things. Yeah, why can't they get in there and blow all the bucks on education and on infrastructure?
That's for suckers. I know. That's for suckers.
If you have a rich population and you're at the top of that, you can be uber rich. If you have it's like a tick. You're a tick on a fat healthy dog. Or you can be a tick on a skinny dying dog. It's their choice. And then eventually, you know what I mean?
So you have Republicans who are useful fools who don't understand the fact that the leadership, the oligarchs, are actually hollowing out the country, right? And Republicans are willing to spend taxpayer money on education. It's just on private education. It's just on religious, quote unquote, religious freedom education, to what is basically evangelical madrasas. And they want to spend money on those institutions.
Well, yeah, Betsy DeVos did it here in Michigan for 10 years, and we're still, like, she's been gone for 3.5 now, and we're still trying to fix our public school system from her taking the money for the public schools, putting it into the private and religious schools.
That's how you get Pakistan. That's how you get Pakistan.
Yeah. Yep. Well, there's just so much going on right now. And of course, tomorrow we're going to have our 1 week to doomsday stream.
Yeah.
We're
almost
there. Oh, yeah. Well, that's going to be
almost there.
that is going to be crazy. So, Chris, when are we actually going to start streaming? Because I hear the coverage on the major networks. Not that we're a major network. We might have major dysfunctions, psychological dysfunctions, but we are not a major network. I mean, They're starting at 4 o'clock in the afternoon. I don't even know how crazy. Yeah, it's
I would be willing. Absolutely. There's going to be a lot going on. Now, see, here's the deal. We're going to have me and you For those who are, so I don't know. For those who don't know, we're gonna have me and Andy. Andy and I are gonna host a stream covering the election day. Yeah. Now we're gonna go X amount of hours. Obviously, we don't know how long. So it'll be me and Andy. And then we'll have other people from the atheist community who've been on the show who want to come in. Like, maybe Neil wants to pop in if he can watch his filthy mouth. Your filthy, disgusting mouth,
filthy
Neil.
Canadian mouth.
You kiss your mother with that now? Oh, you filthy man. But we'll have people come on during the show and commentate on what's going on in the election, hopefully in their area. Like was it John Funk? He may live stream from his polling line to our show here and kind of give us an update. It'd be nice if we can organize that, Andy, and have several people who are going to be out that day. I don't know who else you will. You'll be at the polls that day, right?
Rage will be.
I will be, I just need to figure out how to stream from my phone, which I think I already know how to do. I've never tried to do it, but I'm sure I can figure it out. But yeah, I'll be. I want to keep an eye and be recording the Republican poll watchers.
Yeah. Oh, right.
See, that's great.
So. Yeah.
Here we go. Rage from Bleeding, Kansas, 1859.
You know what we may do, since this chat and stuff is not working, I may actually get rid of that and add more room to add more guests on the show specifically for that night. And that way
Rage, he dodged the bullet of COVID-19, but he couldn't dodge the bullet of Election Day. I'm sorry.
True. I couldn't avoid the Proud Boys.
Right. Yeah. Well, we should really do a fund to get you a Kevlar vest or something so you can report from the voting lines.
Yeah, so maybe I'll do it and just get rid of the chat on the screen so we can have more people and bigger screens for whenever there aren't people here. So just do away with that chat altogether. But I like having our poll up there. I'm gonna have to rework this stuff. But anyway, for the election, that's what I'd like. So that's what we're going to be doing. We're going to have me and
this is fantastic. If this isn't the show in and of itself, Chris talks about technical stuff. Rage is about to cough up a lung, and I'm just spewing out crappy jokes. This is the whole model right here. This is it. This is the model.
It works. It works. And that's what we'll be doing. I just wanted to see if you wanted to stop me again and before I got to the end. No?
I have to breathe. I have to breathe occasionally.
So hopefully we'll have other people who join us on the show, and then we'll run from probably as we've discussed, 2 o'clock, my time, 4 o'clock, Andy's time, till I guess, I don't know, what, midnight, your time? I mean, it's going to be an all-night thing. I suspect, it's a commitment. So my thinking is that I'll bounce out, you'll bounce out for a little while. I'll have to go, and you'll run the show, and we'll have guests. And I think it'll be okay, don't you?
For all those fanboys out there in the chat who want to see me argue with someone, I've actually had a very civil conversation with John Hamill from Free Thought Profit about the nature of reparations. And if you want to go on Twitter and you can see how adults talk to each other, you can do that as against to what I do here, which is really just talking a load of smack.
This thing on?
I can hear you, Chris.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So to the question?
The question?
Yes. You're going to be on the show.
Yeah.
We were talking about be okay.
I was doing segue and riffing on Flow State again and just instigating him. That's all I was doing just now. But we're going to have a whole bunch of guests on the show. Ian Harris probably will be on here, the atheist skeptical comedian. I'll get him and a bunch of other kind of, and I'm just hoping that Rage is still keeping that happy face as we go through this entire 12-hour stream or whatever, how long it is.
Oh, yeah.
Well, I can't guarantee that on election day. You might see a mad face. You might see the
mad face, frowny face.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, we've still got, again, just a little bit over a week. How much cooties can they spread between now and then?
Actually, I'm going to start making up a list of people I'm going to invite on the show for that.
I think they're definitely spreading a lot right now because every single state is spiking crazy. So.
Yeah. I'm looking at the the rates of transmission, and it is pretty nutty, to say the least. Massachusetts has a 1.16 current RT rate. And almost every state is in the red. Mississippi, Florida, and Maine right now are the only states that are showing a decrease in transmission rates. Everything else, every other state's in the red at this point.
Yeah, and we're just at the start of the second wave. This is the very beginning of flu season.
I just want to tell you how stupid, in case, this entire, we could have an entire segment, like we just talk about how stupid people are. So I get this email from my kid's school, the high school, right? And they're like, well, we're going to reopen we're going to stop doing distance learning starting January 4th. And everyone's going back to high school at that point. And I'm going, really? Boston just closed down. Boston had in-person school, education, and then they just closed it down and doing nothing but distance education right now because it's so bad. And my kid's school is like, yeah, we're just gonna open up right in the middle of the apocalypse, and that's gonna be the greatest idea ever.
Yeah, January, like the worst part of flu season.
Oh, that's
Yeah. It's that war on science, and this is all being led by the Conservative Party. The Conservative Party could stop this.
Yeah,
they could, and it doesn't even have to be a political issue. They could go, you know what, this is no longer a political issue. This is an everybody issue. Let's move forward together as a country and solve this. But they have no interest in doing that.
We live in a country where clean drinking water is a political issue. It's only logical under this insane internal logic of the United States of America, this bizarro world that we live in, that where we have clean air and clean water to be a political position, that all of a sudden the pandemic is a political issue.
Here in Michigan, clean water is on the ballot. It's in the ads. I mean, they're going back and forth about it with each other. I mean, it's on the ballot here in Michigan. Clean water. Only in Trump's America. Only in Trump's America.
So is this sometimes it's difficult for me to understand when people are riffing on things, but there is a real ballot issue about the nature of water quality.
The candidates are talking about, like Hillary Shelton, the person I support to be my congresswoman. She's going up against the Republican, and they're making ads about clean water. Now, here in Michigan, we know Republicans messed our water up pretty bad under Snyder. They're trying to put that on Democrats now. Like, sure. No, you can't do that. But it's on the ballot. You're voting for either Democrats that's going to clean up your water and stop killing your children, Flint, or you're voting for the Republicans that poisoned your water.
Well, there you go.
There you go. I have a clip I'm going to drop in the link. It's just like a minute long. It's for the people. I had to do an introduction to a speech for my public speaking class, and the introduction was supposed to be about just a fake introduction, not the whole speech, just the introduction. So I did this introduction and the Ant King. So I just wanted to put that for Brian. I just wanted to type that. I didn't want to type all that in. So carry on with your COVID Cody craziness. Me and Brian are having a conversation about ants.
So the prologue of your speech was about ants? I'm intrigued by this now. You can't throw that out, Chris.
Okay. So the speech, they said make a make-believe speech. And I said, okay. Now it's just supposed to be an introduction. We're doing an introduction, the content, and then the closing of a speech, right? So just the introduction of a speech. So the topic, they gave me a random topic, was picnics. So I had to establish myself as an authority on picnics, and therefore I was the Ant King. Therefore, I am an authority on picnics. If you are, and they had to say why somebody would want to. You have to. Why would they want what you have? You have to tell them why. Well, I'm like, if you're a fellow ant, or maybe even a bear, this could really be of interest to you, so pay attention, that kind of thing. So, and then I'm like, all right, I've got 3 points I want to cover in depth later about this thing. And I had to list my points, which were that picnics are delicious, picnics are tasty, and if you're bear, they come with some meat snacks. And that was it. And then, at that point you go, okay, and now on with the speech. And you go on to the content. At that point, I stop and say, thank you. So, yeah, the king of the ants. I'm okay. I'll be okay.
Okay. That's good.
Good morning, Slade Chimera. Thank you all for joining us this morning. Yes. So as we've discussed, we've got Plague Pence spreading across the country. His entourage gets the cooties. He didn't stop. He didn't slow down. He's getting on the campaign trail and going. Trump. We don't even care about Trump and his cooties anymore. He done had it. what about his people? Does his staff? How are they doing? Anybody know? You don't hear nothing about it anymore. You don't hear nothing.
Yeah.
Nobody cares. Right?
You don't hear
We'll
anything,
hear when they die or when they get out of the hospital or whatever. You'll hear eventually something, you know. We didn't hear about Herman Cain for a month. And, you know, it was like the day before he died, they're like, Herman Cain is getting stronger every... Wait. He dead. Herman Cain is dead. You know, so...
I was reading right before I came on that, you know, Trump's been doing his rallies, and that's bad enough. But I'm reading he's stopping repeatedly, and their people are getting out, and that there's actually science that everywhere he's stopping on the road, that COVID is spiking.
It's a hot spot.
Everywhere he's stopping. Yeah, like he is making it just worse and worse and worse.
Yes.
So I was reading that. I didn't get to read all of it, but right before we came on.
Excellent. You know, I don't miss the opportunity to call him Typhoid Trump or the plague president, the president of phage, anything you can think of. You know, I just love them. Keep them coming because I don't want to forget that. I'm going to Typhoid Trump. Yeah. And is a meat suit.
They are pushing the conspiracy theories right now. Like this whole Hunter Biden computer thing is not. They're not letting it go away.
They're not. No matter how bad the story looks, all the holes in it, they don't care. They just ignore that stuff, skip it, move on. You know, where's the outrage from QAnon about Rudy Giuliani?
Yeah, I don't know.
You know, where's the outrage about Trump and Epstein from QAnon? They are oddly silent about these things.
Yeah, but they are going off about Biden and Hunter Biden and pedophilia and all this crap now, and I'm like,
yeah. And you know, again, I believe it was yesterday or maybe Saturday. Trump was once again calling for the arrest of Joe Biden.
Yeah.
We've got a week. Tomorrow, we're going to do the stream, and we'll once again take bets as to who, when, and where Trump is going to arrest first. Desperation time is coming.
I still think it's Hillary. I think it's got to be Hillary. Those emails.
Right. Well, now he's got new emails to focus on. Hunter Biden's emails, which are directly related to, and you know, apparently, I mean, if they can just make stuff up, why don't they just come up with an email that says, you know, Hunter Biden and Joe Biden snorted cocaine off a hooker's ass and gave $1 million to, why don't they just I mean, because they already are to a degree. It's like they were trying to be believable.
Yeah.
And it failed, obviously.
It's like it's designed for their base. It's designed for QAnon. Yeah. You know, so you've got all the things in there that QAnon's gonna like. You got Hunter Biden smoking off a crack pipe. You know, you got pedophilia coming out, and I mean it's no red flags there that this is designed for Trump's base.
Yeah. And you know, this news that Russia and Iran have hacked the elections. Well, wait, you know, oddly enough, there were a lot of efforts to try to stop the elections and protect the elections, or not stop them, but protect them. And Trump and them have been pulling down all those protections. You know, there's that on purpose, and this is why. So foreign nations could tamper with our election. They could call it into question, do their Supreme Court thing, and get their election out of the Supreme Court.
I think one of the reasons why Trump isn't getting a lot of traction, besides it's the apocalypse, but he has approximately $43 million in his war chest right now, while Biden has 4 times that amount. Approximately. Biden has 162 million. So the amount of money Biden has right now, at the first half of October, is like substantially more than what Trump has. So whatever Trump puts out there on the air, Biden can just like flood with money with his own message.
Yeah, and I've seen that here. I've seen that. A lot of Biden ads.
Yeah, a lot of Biden ads.
Part of the deal, though, I think, is that anytime Trump gets money, he siphons it off. Yeah. You know, like they had anytime any money comes into his thing. So I would easily believe that he has a campaign war chest, and it actually probably had more millions of dollars in it, and he siphoned that off to Russia.
You're hitting it.
Wouldn't surprise
me. The nail on the head, Chris. That's the nail on the head. The Republicans have always fundraised the Democrats. Always. Their donors, they they bow to their donors more than the Democrats do. The Democrats do it, but the Republicans really do it. They have always outraised the Democrats for a long time.
Yeah.
I do not believe for a second that Biden's actually outraising Trump. But what we do know is, as you're saying, they are filtering that money out of the campaign and could very well be throwing it into his personal accounts because he's that corrupt. I beat Hillary with less. I can beat Biden with less.
Right, and not necessarily because, I mean, I don't know that the guy actually even has money in his personal accounts. I mean, what does he have? He doesn't have anything. I don't know how the guy pays for McDonald's.
Nobody knows. Like, that's the thing about Donald Trump. He could be worth $1,000 or he could be worth $5.5 billion. Like, nobody knows, you know?
Yeah. And now, but, you know, that's one of the things that I have been howling about ever since the cooties came out and we started going through all this thing and the Republicans were denying it and playing it off. I was like, Trump is trying to spread these cooties as much as he can to stifle the vote as much as he can. Now, first it was like hidden, but now it's just out in the open. They are literally just have no problem. Andy even read the article earlier how they are just giving up. Pence has a cootie-riddled entourage, and they're just going on with life.
Yeah, we're just going to walk it off.
They are intentionally
just walking it off
to spread the plague amongst our people. Whenever you go, and then, you know, that we talk about that number, that 225,000 now, but that is a low number. That's a low ball number because they've been doing everything they can to knock that number down, to get the reporting down on that number, to make sure that number, you know, I mean, Trump, right? They've been doing this. He's been fighting the CDC. This man has been fighting his own Centers for Disease Control over this disease, which he called the hoax, and then he got it, right? Mm-hmm. So how people still follow him. Of course, you see the guy with the red shirt and the red hat, and on the back of it says, "My son died of COVID, and I'm still a Trump supporter."
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
I mean...
Yeah, they're going out of their way to dampen down the numbers. So, say, like, if I would have died from COVID-19, you know, no doubt, like, I got COVID, now I'm dead. They'd be out there saying, but he had that vein disease, you know?
Right. You know, I've seen these memes about, you know, jump out of a plane without a parachute. He died of COVID. You know...
Yeah, it's ridiculous.
Part of the deal is it right? Well, we know ahead of time. Part of the deal is that if you have anything wrong with you, and this gets you, it's going to make it worse. It's going to blah 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 blah, and boom, you're going to die. What happens when this runs through a senior community? Whenever it runs through an elderly person's home, whenever it runs through anything, you know, I mean, the deaths are just. It's crazy.
We've seen it a little bit within like nursing homes, and imagine that on a massive wide scale. You know, I mean, that's what we've been trying to prevent, and that's right. Literally what they've been trying to make happen. You know?
Right, and herd immunity will not do. No, it won't. Even if it did, you'd have to lose millions of people for that to work.
The idea that you only have immunity for 3 months undermines the entire idea about herd immunity. It's like, how is that going to work if you're only immune against it, if you only have antibodies for 3 months?
So
that's absurd.
You're saying Amy that lady could get it again?
Oh yeah, she would get it again. There are people who've gotten it twice.
Oh yeah, and imagine, all right, so you get it and you have long-lasting repercussions of that. You're still getting ill, and then you get it again. Your body's been weakened by the COVID. You get it again. I mean, eventually, the fatality rates, I would have to imagine, common sense here, are going to start to rise again, you know?
Yeah. Right. But in the future, when you get it again or whenever you get anything else again, you've already had the cooties, right? We know you had the cooties. So 8 million people now have had the cooties. So whenever you so let's say 6 months down from now, Trump's still in office. They get the Supreme Court. They do what they want to do. They get their way. And then you go in for something else, and they deny you coverage because you have a pre-existing condition because you had the cooties.
Yeah,
it is a pre-existing condition that they can use to deny you medical care. They won't use that to deny the opportunity to take your money out of your paycheck every month. But when you go down to the doctor and you've got something you need to get done, they'll be like, "Oh, wait, now they've got this thing that they can say no about."
which was what was happening before Obamacare. Like
which is exactly what was happening before Obamacare.
People forget that.
People were all mad
money
because
every week.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Chris. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to interrupt
well,
you.
people were mad because now they have to buy insurance and they can't keep their shitty $19 a month insurance that they had before that only covered them if they got a hangnail. If this left thumb got hurt, but other than that, if you got cancer or heart disease or anything else, it didn't help anything. Your heart in a car accident? No, that's a different insurance. Obamacare was supposed to wrangle all that. And, then again, they did away with that crappy insurance. They couldn't sell you that no more. So you had to change to a policy that would actually do something. That's part of people didn't understand. And they're like, I'm going to lose my health care. Well, if it's shit health care, then you're going to lose it. And you're going to have to go get something else. Grow up.
And I love how they blame us like we're going to take their health care while Trump's in court right now trying to get rid of Obamacare, pre-existing health conditions, which is going to lose 150 to 200 million people are going to lose their insurance if they get rid of those pre-existing health conditions.
Yeah. Well, what's the real tragedy is that Democrats are going to take health care for guns.
What do you mean?
It's a shitty joke.
No, I think I got it.
I don't get it.
They're going to take your health. It's a joke. It's a joke, Chris. There's nothing to get, actually. There's absolutely nothing to get. They're going to take your health care for your guns. It's just going to take your health care for your guns.
For my guns. I get it. I get it. Sorry, I'm slow this morning. Healthcare for my guns.
I just want to shout out to all the Blackadder comedy being done here in the chat. Well done, chat, with the Blackadder references.
Oh yeah, clue us in. I don't know. What's Blackadder?
Well, Blackadder, Rowan Atkinson, non-Mr. Bean humor, very verbal, very clever, a variety of different seasons, BBC classic stuff. If you want to see some real funny crap, just check out Blackadder clips on YouTube.
Awesome. Let me do the thing. We got the poll going. I got a button. I was going to hit a button. I don't remember why I was going to hit the button.
I don't know.
Anyway, I was going to hit a button. Hey, you know what? We've pretty much done the hour. I'm going to go ahead and start wrapping things up. Andy, what do you have going on?
I have many things going on, Chris. Many things on my blog, Laughing in Disbelief on Pathos. I have other things, too, going on my YouTube channel. And if I actually paid any attention to my schedule, I would know what they are off the top of my head. But I don't. All that being said, I think I did a wonderful job today. A wonderful job. On this show. I did a wonderful job, and that's what I'm going to say.
That's how you're going to look back on this show. Okay, good.
On this show.
Fine.
Well, I paint with a big brush, and I think I do a wonderful job every day I'm on this show, but I might be biased.
Have you guys ever heard of, what is that? Self-soothing?
Self-soothing.
Carry on, Andy. Carry on. Just
I did a fantastic job for a Monday. I will take your backhanded compliment, Lady Starfire, and hold it in my heart that's 2 sizes too small.
Let me just switch this up and let's try something else. Nokasuchi. El Rejo. What do you got going on? You got anything going on coming up?
Oh yeah, so I'll be streaming probably at my normal time around noon for weekdays, and then I'll be announcing the debate before the debate. But tonight I have a debate with Skylar Fiction on a brand new channel called Nerd Wars. I'm gonna put the link in the chat because if you're interested in this debate, you'll want to go there and subscribe. It's a new channel. You're gonna have a hard time finding it. I will stream later, right before the debate, to remind people and to direct people there. I'll be debating Skylar Fiction on best Star Trek captain, Kirk or Picard.
No, yeah. So where do you fall down? Where do you fall down, Mr. Rage?
Yeah, which
side I am a Kirk guy. I am taking the position that Kirk is the far better captain than Picard.
Really? Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
I like your bold.
I've got stats.
You got stats.
I really, if I was to go, it would be a tough call between Picard and Cisco. Now, I think though, however,
Cisco's my
I would.
Yeah.
You say, yeah. I really would have to take and go and if you were to look through each one through a certain lens, they're all awesome for that lens. Kirk is the great, I mean, like, remember, you could take Kirk and compare him maybe to Archer, because they were both back in the cowboy days of the Federation. So much better than Archer, just completely.
Yeah, way better.
Shit's all over Archer. But when it comes to Picard, they're not really the same. Picard is in a different era, and he's more like an admiral, more like a real naval officer of the day, like you would expect today. So they're not really comparable, in my opinion.
Well, I have one situation that they are in the exact same predicament and they make different decisions. I'm going to use that, but I'm also taking the America argument. So Picard is this elitist French European, wannabe, diplomat, to where James Kirk's just Merc. He's just Merc. Yeah. So I mean, I'm taking that's going to be my line of argumentation.
Well, not just American. He's like John F. Kennedy American. That's what he is.
Yeah. I mean, you could say American, but I mean, it's like on shows of the original series where he told, "There's no bigotry on this bridge. You need to get your bigotry out of here." Yeah. Those kind of things, Mister. Those kind of things. He was good about those things. Now, whenever we look at the other,
I'm kind of kidding. I'm somewhat kidding. Yeah,
of course. Yeah. Oh yeah. Well, whenever we look at the other captains, the Cisco, Janeway. I really love Janeway. I think Janeway did a great job. And then Cisco and Picard, though, again, different lens. Picard is the admiral kind of guy, and Cisco is kind of not. He's just different. I don't know.
I'm an Admiral Akbar guy myself.
Oh, are you?
The way I'm justifying it is that, Cisco is my favorite, and I don't have an option for Cisco. The debate is Kirk or Picard. But I'm saying, like, Cisco was a commander of a station, not really a captain of a ship. So that's kind of how
someone did point that out in the chat.
Yeah, how I'm justifying it,
Well, if I may, Cisco was indeed the captain of the Defiant. He was also promoted. He was a commander when the show started.
You're ruining my justifications.
He was promoted to captain in the season 3, episode 1, I believe.
So, I think you're right. Yeah,
he was.
One reason why Kirk is far superior to Picard: General Order 24. Picard would never order General Order 24, and people know what I'm talking about. General Order 24.
See, the wife. Normally, I would say any other day I'd have said Picard, but me and the wife over the last week and a half, we've watched. Well, we went to Khan. The Search for Spock, and we watched yesterday or the day before yesterday. We watched 4, The Voyage Home. It was yesterday. We watched The Voyage Home. Yeah. We watched 5 about a month and a half ago, just because I don't know why we watched it. Just out of nowhere, we watched it. So now the next one we get to watch is, and I'm really enjoying. The characters, the actors are doing a fantastic. They're a lot of fun, especially Bones. Bones is just fantastic. Yeah. A lot of fun. Yeah. He's great. He's deep. He's emotional. Nothing like what they've done to Bones' character in the new movies. The Bones character in the new movies is just a pissed off old man, sits over and says stupid shit.
Yeah.
You're gonna sit that guy down in a poker game with no cards and tell him to bluff. Okay, all right, I get that. And then you're gonna rob a bank with a flat tire. I mean that's.
I didn't realize you had such strong feelings about this, Chris.
Oh yeah. I may throw up on you.
I'm gonna list off a type. I'm gonna make a list of topics that we can talk about.
Okay.
During our marathon stream on election day, so that we will have diversions from politics.
Awesome.
Right.
One of the things that happened there, J.J. Abrams, if you're watching, Alex Kurtzman, you're gonna. I have my little Alex Kurtzman voodoo doll. I hope you. Yeah. Anyway, so yeah. All right. For the election, I'm looking forward to the election. It's gonna be fun. Well,
indeed,
the stream is gonna be fun. But the other day I did the debate. And during the debate, I streamed with CNN's, MSN's thing on there, and I have not gotten any copyright complaints or anything yet.
Good.
So during our show, we may have the live CNN or a live MSNBC ticker going on, or live show, or we may pause and watch something they have going on.
I think that's a great idea, because we need to know exactly what's going on in the apocalypse during this most apocalyptic time.
again, as we spoke about before, as we spoke about last Tuesday, and as we're going to talk about tomorrow, where are you going to be on the day the world ended?
Yep.
You won't forget it. That's for sure.
I'll probably be at work.
You'll be at work.
So you're back at work now, Mr. Rage. You're back at work.
On the 29th. I go back.
29th. Excellent.
On the 29th. Yay.
Glad to hear it.
Awesome. All right, guys. I'm off to save the world. I hope you have a wonderful day. I hope everybody in the chat has a wonderful week. You guys all, thank you so much for joining us. And we will see you we'll see you tomorrow. Tomorrow, 1 week from Doomsday.
Be strong.
Thank you for watching the show. A special shout out to my gold level Patreon supporters, Cindy Plaza and Ian Davenport. Thank you and have a great day.